Hi guys, welcome to From PSD to HTML5. My name is Dan Wellman, and in this course we're going to be converting a freshly designed PSD into a super semantic HTML5 document. Make no mistake though, we won't be looking at Photoshop from a design perspective at all. If you came here looking for tips to improve your design skills, you're in the wrong place, I'm afraid. As far as we're concerned, the design phase has already occurred, and we, as front-end developers, have received the PSDs and will use them to produce some web templates. We'll cover a variety of techniques, including fast ways to slice up a PSD, rapidly create heavily image-based HTML emails, and look at a variety of general time and energy-saving techniques. You absolutely do need to have access to a copy of Photoshop, preferably the latest version, CS6. You should note also that I'll be using Visual Studio for Web 2012 as an editor. You absolutely don't have to use this if you don't want to. We won't be writing any server-side code at all, so any editor or IDE should suffice. So first of all, let's just take a quick look at the PSDs that we're going to be slicing and dicing over this course. As you can see, I've got them on my desktop here. So this one's for a kind of home page. We'll just zoom in slightly. So pretty standard stuff here. We've got a header area, a kind of featured hero banner, some social icons, a few headings and stuff. Got some introductory text here and a list of links, and what looks like a portfolio grid here of probably clickable items that go off to additional pages about each item. And some more text and links, and then at the bottom a nice simple footer. So that's the first PSD, nice and easy, nice and simple, nothing crazy going on at all. And we'll just open up the second one as well. So this could be the template for a list page. It's very similar to the home page. Really, it's just the bits in the middle here, this list of items, which are laid out slightly differently than they were on the home page. But aside from that, we've got the header, we've got some of the introductory text and links, and the footer again. And it's the same series of images, so nice and straightforward, very similar to the homepage template. There'll be a lot of code that we can reuse over both templates. So those are the PSDs. As you can see, the layout is a kind of standard, I think it's probably 940 pixels in width. Yeah, it's about 940. And if we switch on the grid, then we can see that it's a very standard 12-column grid. So we could use a CSS framework to save writing a load of layout stuff ourselves manually. So we could use something like 960GS or Twitter's Bootstrap. We'll go with Twitter's Bootstrap in this case. And now is probably a good time to set up a working directory somewhere to keep all of our files and pages and stuff in. So if we go ahead and create a new folder somewhere, I'll put mine on the desktop here, and we'll just call this templates. And then within this folder, we can just create a couple more. So we'll create a CSS one, and we'll create one for the images that we slice out, and we'll just call this IMGs. So we're going to use Bootstrap in this course, and we can use the Bootstrap build tool to create a custom theme for our template. So let's do that quickly now. We can visit the build tool up on GitHub. So let's just go there quickly. And if we go to the Customize tab, then we've got a range of different customizations that we can make. You don't need to have used Bootstrap before really to follow this course. I'm using it now because it will save us a lot of time and leave us to focus on the things that we're really interested in this course, which is, using Photoshop from a web developer's perspective. But Bootstrap will save us a lot of time, and there's a lot of customizations that we can make. So let's just go through this page very quickly. If we just switch all of those off, because we won't be using all of them, and then we can just selectively add in the ones that we need. So we'll take all of the scaffolding options, and we can set some of the base CSS for headings. We're probably not going to use any of these other things down here because the PSDs really are very simple. So yeah, we don't need any of those at all. The components, we will use a couple of these components. We can use the thumbnails, and we can use the media component, and that's pretty much it. In the miscellaneous section, we can use the utilities. That's pretty much all we'll need from there. So that gives us things like the clearfix class and some float classes and stuff. We're not going to be looking at anything responsive here, so we don't need those at all. And we're not going to be writing any JavaScript at all, so we don't need any of the JS components either. And if we go down to the jQuery plugins, again, we're not going to be using any of those at all, so we'll just switch all of those off. Right, so in the customized variables section, so this is where things start to get interesting, and we can bring across some of the elements from the design into our custom build of Bootstrap. So, okay, the body background, we can keep that as white. Now, if we look back in the PSD, the text color, we've got two different colors of text. So the headings are all black. We've actually got three different colors of text, actually, because we've got this nice orange here for all the links. But most of the actual body text, just the regular text, in both of the PSDs is this kind of grey color. So the first kind of tip is, rather than trying to color pick that out, which we could do, but if we zoom into the text, we'll see that it's anti-aliased. So it's actually built up of a variety of different shades of grey. So which one would we use if we were using the color picker? We would never know. It would just be too complex. So if we select the type tool here, and then just click into some of the body text. I'm not using a Mac, so I don't have this font installed, so I'll just okay that, and the text will change, but that's fine because we're not going to save it. And if we just go up to the toolbar at the top here and click on that, that will give us the exact color of the text. So we'll copy that into the Bootstrap build tool. Okay, great. So the links, I mentioned the links are this kind of lovely orangey shade. So again, if we just select some of this orange text here, I still don't have the font, and we'll go up here and we can get the hex code for the orange. So we'll just copy that, and then we can dump that straight into here. The link color hover, there aren't any hover states defined in the PSD. If this were the theme for an entire website, then we'd probably have a separate PSD that didn't actually match any page at all, and it was just full of things like general styles for the whole site, and that's where we'd probably find the various overstates in use in the site. But there aren't any in this PSD just because there are just a couple of simple PSDs for me to work from. So the link color hover that's defined in the build tool here is fine. Uses a nice little bit of less there. One of the less color functions, darken, just to make the text darker. There's a bunch of colors down here. We don't really need to change any of those. We're not really going to use those at all. Although we could copy this orange down here and just add that to our orange color, just so that it's the same orange. The sprites can stay the same. We're not going to use those, but that's fine. We'll just leave them in there. Okay, so the grid system, if the grid system was different from what I would consider to be the standard grid, then we could change the number of columns here, change the column width and stuff. But actually all of this is exactly what we need, so we'll leave all of that. And we're not using any of the responsive stuff, so we can just ignore all of those. So if we go back up to the top of this section here, now we're looking at the middle column, and I guess this is probably the most common font stack for body text these days, so that's fine. And the headings as well, the headings in the PSD are actually Georgia, so we don't need to make any changes there, that's fine. And we can verify that just by clicking the type tool here, and it's already set to Georgia, so that's what the font is. So we don't need to make any changes here. We're not using lots of this stuff anyway. Now the base font size, the body text is already 14 pixels, so we can see that there. So the line height actually is different than the Bootstrap default, so we'll just increase that, and it's actually 25 px. So that's fine. Let's just check there's nothing else. The headings font family, we'll set that to the same as that. So we want to use our serif fonts here. And all of the headings are actually regular text, they're not bold, so we'll just set these to normal. That's fine. Most of this is fine. There's a lot of stuff here that we're not using, but which would be really helpful normally, like tables and forms. We're not using any of that stuff. Drop downs, we don't have any drop downs, and we're not using the nav bar or the forms. Okay, I think we've done everything that we need to do here now. So yeah, we can just click on the massive button there. There's no way we could miss that, and that will download our theme. And I'm just going to extract the style sheet. We'll go with the min one. We don't really need to make any changes in there or play around with it at all, so that's fine. And if we just stick that into our CSS folder that we just created, that's fine. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to go now. So in this part, we looked at what we're going to be doing over this course and took a brief look at the PSDs that we're going to be working from. We also set up the working directory for our project, and we created a custom version of Twitter's Bootstrap framework, which will save us having to add a bunch of utilities and stuff that we really don't need to worry about. So I've not focused much on the Bootstrap because this course isn't about Bootstrap, and I'm not going to be talking about it much at all throughout the remainder of the course. In the next lesson, we're going to look at some of the ways in which we can start slicing up the PSD. Thanks for watching.